If you found this video, you have one of these Toro Timecutter machines. You're obviously having trouble with them. I'm gonna walk you through what I did for my machine. I was mowing, and then for whatever reason, the blades wouldn't engage. And then as I tried to uplift the PTO switch up and down, nothing would work. So I shut the lawnmower off, and when I went to restart it, all I got was like a click, and it was just the starter trying to engage with the flywheel. And I thought, oh my God, I got some type of electrical thing. I pushed it all the way back up here to the garage, and I'm gonna show you the different steps and processes I went through to figure out what the heck was going on and what was wrong with the machine. All right, the first thing that I checked, which was actually bad, I had two things that went out at the same time, was my PTO switch. So the PTO switch is located right up here underneath, or right next to the key. There's 3 screws to pop this off. First thing I would check though would be these 2 fuses and make sure you didn't blow a fuse for some reason. To get this PTO switch out, it slides in, so you come from under the bottom. I just reach under the fender, you squeeze the 2 sides, and it will slide out. Now to check your PTO switch, and I got this from another YouTube channel, I have my voltmeter. I'm just gonna put it on the sound so that when I make a connection, I get a little beep, my speaker's going out. But to check your PTO switch, it has all these different connections on the bottom. You're only gonna need 2. So when you check it goes 3, 3, 2, these 2 on the end right here, I'm just gonna put this right through the hole. Nothing. When I engage it, pull it up, it's beeping. If you can't hear it, it's in the background, so this one's beeping. Now the other one that you want to check will be, I'm going to close this again, right over here on the end. So I'm going to stick this in. I have nothing here. And then when I engage this PTO switch, I get beeping. So this is a brand new PTO switch. What was happening when I checked my old one is the 2 prongs, I never got a connection even when I engaged it. So I knew my PTO switch was bad. So one, I replaced this, it's like 12 bucks off of Amazon, you can order them. But you're gonna check those 2 prongs on the far left-hand side, and then the 2 prongs on the bottom right-hand side, and make sure they're working when you engage that PTO switch. Now, I've replaced the PTO switch, but when I go to start the lawnmower, it would still just give me a click, and it was just the flywheel the starter trying to engage with the flywheel, but it still wasn't turning the lawnmower over. So I tried a couple other things. I actually bought and replaced the battery, got a new battery in it. Didn't fix the problem. And then I ordered another solenoid and replaced it. Now that didn't fix my problem. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have something else going on. So one quick way that you could check and make sure it wasn't your starter that was going out was I actually took jumper cables and connected them to the positive lead on the battery, and then ran the other jumper cable back to the starter and touched it, got the spark, turned the thing over, got it cranking, and I'm like, well, okay, so the starter's not bad. I even went as far as taking off the 2 hot leads on the solenoid, using the jumper cables and connecting them, and still I was able to get the starter to turn over. So I'm like, my wiring seems to be okay, so there's something else going on here. And my next step was doing a lot of YouTube research, and this is where I came across my solution here. So this piece is your smart park, brain. It sits right in this hole, right back here behind the battery. And what it does is engages the parking brake. And then I'm also finding out that it has a wiring harness right up here that's extremely colorful, that has a lot of different wires that run into it. And by process of elimination and following another YouTube example, I was able to figure out mine is either shorting out or has gone bad. So I'm gonna show you how to get around this and at least get your lawnmower running until you can order this hunk of junk part for over $100 and get it in to get it replaced. All right, the way I found out that this piece had gone bad was I took it out. It's just going to be 2 bolts that sit right back here. I was able to slide it out and then disconnect this wiring harness. Now, taking a look at this harness, I also looked at the schematic online so I could figure out which wires I was dealing with, and then doing some YouTube research. Here are the wires that I needed to, I guess, essentially jump to see if I can get my lawnmower running, and through a process of elimination, find out if this was my problem. So first off, you need to go to Home Depot. You need to pick up one of these rolls of its thermostat wire. And this is different because it's a brown wire and then it has 2 on the inside. I don't know if it'll focus on it, but this is not your standard wire that's like braided copper together. These are solid pieces. So you're gonna need these to be able to jump it, because you're not gonna be able to just stick it in. And here I have a sample of what this looks like. So as you can see, it's like they're solid pieces of wire instead of the braided stuff that comes together. So after taking a look online, as well as the schematic, the place that I started was jumping the green and the blue wire, which was your starter. So that braking mechanism controls the brains, and the first one I jumped was the green and black wires, and this allowed me to get the lawnmower started. Now, I didn't have the other 2 in yet. I only had the green and the black. I got the lawnmower started, but then I couldn't shut it off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. All right, so I had to like choke it out, and then I was able to get it stopped. Now, the second wire that you're gonna need to jump is gonna be your pink wire right here. And that one's gonna go to your yellow wire. Now that's gonna be your fuel solenoid shutoff. So you need that one connected to be able to shut the lawnmower off. So with just those 2, so this one right here and this one and the white one right here, you're able to get the lawnmower started and shut off. And that's what I got from another YouTuber. But oddly enough, like his lawnmower would still engage the PTO, and he was able to like get it going. And that didn't work for me. And I was like, okay, there's got to be something else I'm missing that this brain controls, that I'm lifting the PTO switch and still nothing's happening. So I checked out the solenoid, and the final one that I had to connect is going to be this gray wire right here. And then that gray wire goes to the brown wire right here on the end, which I discovered this brown wire goes to the PTO clutch. So that engages it. That gray wire right there, if we take a look right back here to our PTO switch, comes off of that PTO switch. So without that PTO engaging and going through the brain, it wasn't allowing the clutch. It wasn't allowing the clutch to the PTO clutch to actually engage. So if this is a Timecutter SW5000, this is the connection you'll need to make to be able to get this to work. Now, the final thing or thing that you need to be aware of, when you take this braking mechanism off, you'll be able to run your lawnmower, but you will not have your parking brake. So it's kind of like, I'm not a mechanic, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I just need to get my lawnmower up and running to get my lawn mowed. So I'm not making any recommendations here or any suggestions. Please know that if you do this, you will not have your parking brake. But as you can see down in this hole, if you look down in here, this is where you would go to disengage this parking brake. And then these levers are gonna go to your back axle, which then engages the brake. So you'll need to take those off so that your brake is not engaged anymore. And that should get you up and running and mowing until you can get this piece ordered from online and get it. So hopefully that helps. It gets you guys off and going. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments.